Hey guys, thanks for joining me again. So today I will be discussing a few impairments and dysfunctions when it comes to our ankles and our foot. I'm mostly going to be focusing on our ankles. The first one of the points that I want to discuss is going to be poor ankle mobility. When you think of poor ankle mobility, it sounds just like what it is. You really don't have a lot of strength in your ankle area, so it kind of causes you to possibly have a limp, or you have a lot of discomfort. And the discomfort, as we learned this week, is not just in that area that we think it is in. It can be in any region of our body, but it could be intensified in that specific area. So when we're thinking of poor ankle mobility, I think of properly showering, properly taking care of yourself, making sure that you're cleaning that area. Hygiene is very important in any aspect. So that is one of the main things that I think about. Also, your shoe wear. Are we wearing shoes that support our arches? Because some of us are flat-footed, like myself. So a lot of the time, high heels are discomfortable. Even when it comes down to certain flats, they're not very comfortable. So are we putting any type of insoles in our shoes that could possibly improve that? Or are we just constantly wearing sneakers or sitting down for long periods of time? Or if we're playing sports, are we always wearing cleats or spikes or anything like that? We have to think of all aspects that go into poor ankle mobility. It can start at the simplest thing and end, in the worst result, but it really starts at a smaller, minute thing. So, I'm also possibly going to discuss a little bit more of the overactive muscles and underactive muscles. Of course, when we go into our ankle, we have a lot of muscles. We have the soleus, we have the tibialis anterior muscle, and we have the tibialis posterior muscle. We have the plantar muscle, if I'm saying that right. We also have a few other muscles that go into it. When we're thinking of overactive muscles, I think of over-exercising the same muscle group. Are we focusing on our calf muscles and everything else a lot, which can cause other muscles and joints to start to kind of lose their strength in those areas? Or are we just focusing on strengthening instead of, stretching and strengthening? Because stretching can also cause you to pull muscles, and that's another main point that I have to touch on a little bit with you all. So for me, performing techniques like the dynamic stretching could possibly help. So a few overactive muscles that I know of would be your anterior tibialis, your posterior tibialis, your lateral gastrocnemius muscle. Just to name a few, are going to be a few muscles that are going to be overactive. Which brings me to my last point. So, I'm going to tell you about one phase. One phase that I think that could possibly correct any ankle impairments, foot impairments, would be the activation techniques. I like that as isolated strengthening, but also lengthening techniques like static stretching, dynamic stretching, that you can do to alleviate some of the pain that you're having, some of the kind of tension that's in that area. The overactive muscles and the underactive muscles as well could be alleviated from those simple things, such as your activation and your lengthening technique. Okay, so one technique I would like to demonstrate for you all is a static stretch. So for me, I think the simplest thing that you could do to correct this issue would be starting with a walking lunge. This is not the only one. You can also do leg swings. You can also do torso twist. But for me, this is the simplest one for me. So I'm going to simply demonstrate that for you right now. So first, with your walking lunge, I like to, of course, push down. So I take both of my feet, kind of spread them out, kind of shoulder length wide, and then pick one foot to start with and plant off with. So put your hands on your hips, of course, and we're just going to go down into a lunge. And we're going to continue the process on both legs until we kind of feel like we've properly stretched.